The NCA is an outdoor classroom for students and even a living laboratory for people to do research. Has anyone ever been out here before?
No.
Today you're at Desert Discovery Days, and we're going to learn about the desert ecosystem and birds of prey.
Oh, whoa, what's that?
That looks
Kind of like a moth.
If you want to see a lizard, you can come over here. This is sagebrush. They're the ones that have the light green 3 lobes on the leaf. Has anyone ever smelled sagebrush before?
Yes.
Pick off a leaf and give it a smell.
Like lizards, but
All right, let's go, group 4.
Stop. Check that.
We're at Dedication Point. The sagebrush on these sites, like in many, many areas of the Snake River Plain, once it burns off, it does not resprout from its roots like some other shrubs do. It needs to reestablish from seed, which takes a very long time. Probably 75% of that sagebrush that was here in the late 40s has now been burned off at least once, and in most places it's been burned at least twice. And so therefore, without intervention, it probably won't come back in our lifetime. Most people don't get excited about desert soils, but really, you dig a hole in any precipitation desert in the world and you're not going to find soils like this. And that is why the birds are here.
Sagebrush is important to this ecosystem because it provides habitat, and they also play a really important ecological role. They really are just the foundation for this ecosystem. Our hope is to implement a staged restoration project where we first focus on reducing annual grasses and annual weeds, so then we can come back in and reintroduce native sagebrush and forbs.
We're actually going to garden this portion of the NCA just to build something that we can show people a reasonably good habitat at this elevation. There's more diversity and more beautiful wildlife concentrated in this area than you would ever know. Okay.
Quiet, what's conservation mean? Conservation means to conserve or preserve something. So we're protecting their habitat and we're protecting their food. There's characteristics that all birds of prey have in common. Does anyone remember one of those? Exactly, they have sharp, curved beaks. So this is how they tear their food up that they're eating. What else? Talons. All birds of prey have these sharp, curved talons. This is how they catch their food. Does anyone remember what type of bird Little Hawk is? She is a Swainson's hawk. She has excellent eyesight. Hawks, they can see 8 times as far as we can. And of course she has a carnivorous diet, so she's eating those Paiute ground squirrels. And that's what's feeding most of the birds of prey that live here. And it is the highest density of Paiute ground squirrels recorded anywhere. That allows us to have the highest concentration of nesting birds of prey in our entire country also.
We're out here today at one of our really beautiful natural sagebrush ecosystems. We were trapping ground squirrels. So since this was a new individual, we need to give them a tag. The tags are put underneath the skin and they're called pit tags, which is basically a fancy way of saying microchip. This type of trapping is called mark recapture. The whole point behind it is to mark individuals so we know this one's different from this one. Just doing an observation study where we don't know individuals and we don't know the recapture rates, we wouldn't get things like survivorship and density. And for this study, we're looking at how density differs across the landscape in different habitat types, particularly where fires have moved in, invasive annuals have moved in, and how ground squirrels are responding to that new type of habitat. Ground squirrels are integral to the success and survivorship and nesting of our breeding raptors here in the NCA. We are the only National Guard facility that's within an NCA. The training area is 143,000 acres. And so I think that the Guard feels a responsibility to make sure that we're providing for part of that research. The Guard is really invested in making sure that we have sustainable natural training lands into the future.
This is Slim. She's a female golden eagle. This bird belongs to Morley Nelson. What does somebody think her best feature is?
Her eyesight?
There you go. Number one thing on this bird is her eyesight. 8 to 10 times better than yours and mine, which means if we had her eyesight, we go down to Boise State football stadium, stand at one of the goalposts, put her book on the other goalpost and read it. And she can see her prey up to 2 miles away. And you can see her wingspan's about 6.5 feet. These guys probably eat anywhere from 1 pound to 2 pounds of meat a day. This is the T-Rex that just grew wings. Powerful, they're majestic.
Being public land, graduate students from universities come out here and conduct their projects. It's a great place for research and getting young biologists their graduate education, but also for educating the general public. We're out here today for a few different purposes. One is to continue a long-term monitoring project that the BLM started years ago, and that means watching these ferruginous hawk nests throughout the breeding season and keeping track of their success and productivity. The reason you band any bird is to get population information about the bird, so we can learn key things about the species, such as their longevity, how far they disperse. When they set this area aside, really for raptors, they also set aside an area that was great for research. It is really important to me, to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, that we get people out into our natural places, observing our natural things, and appreciating our natural things. It really gives somebody a unique appreciation for the resource when they get to come out and see it firsthand. It's a good thing in the long run for conservation. I want people to see the value, like I do, in this place. The NCA is a place that we share and a place that's worth taking care of.
This is what we call a box trap to catch owls that are inside of this burrow. We're just going to place it at the mouth of the tunnel, and then hopefully we'll be able to catch the female that's inside of this burrow. Most of our studies out here in the birds of prey area have focused on understanding the basic biology of some of the owls that live here. We do annual monitoring to find out how the productivity is, reuse of particular nest sites to try and understand the biology, and we hope that the information that we learn through our scientific studies is then of value to the resource agencies that are responsible for managing the birds of prey area. Owls are important to study because they play a certain function in the ecosystem. They're part of the natural world, and the more we understand about all of the components of the natural world will allow humans to live in harmony with nature. One of the values of the NCA has certainly been its capacity to serve as a living laboratory. The NCA has been incredibly valuable to folks like me because we have a raptor research center at Boise State University that focuses on studying raptors. The ability for us to do research in an area like this, to have birds of prey available to study like this, it is not necessarily found in too many locations.
Conservation education is very important, helping to teach people about the idea that natural resources are not unlimited, and so we want to work together to conserve them for future generations.
The BLM works with a lot of other agencies in order to manage this area, and research has been occurring for 60 or 70 years. A lot of what we know about raptors and their basic biology and behaviors is due to research that occurred in the NCA. And we think it's important to be able to educate the public about those things.
The state of birds of prey does need to be protected. Not just for the birds, but for us. We got to have something that, as a person, you go out and find your own solitude, your own peace of mind.
There's a lot of reasons that we do environmental education and outreach, and I think Morley Nelson understood that children have a special connection with wildlife, and so we've really worked to carry that forward. These are ultimately going to be the people who are the next wildlife biologist or are the next ecologist, and so we really want to give them an opportunity to find their passion associated with public land.
Yeah, I like learning about like ecosystems and stuff. I really like science.
After today, when I grow up, I think I want to be a biologist.
I just like to be outside